Connecting with Empathy: Transforming Business Relationships. By Perry Bonnell. Copyright 2023 by Perry Bonnell, all rights reserved. No part of this publication may be reproduced, distributed, or transmitted in any form or by any means, including photocopying, recording, or other electronic or mechanical methods, without the prior written permission of the publisher. Except in the case of brief quotations embodied in critical reviews and certain other non-commercial uses permitted by copyright law. Table of Contents. Chapter 1, The Science of Empathy. Chapter 2, Why Empathy Matters in Business. Chapter 3, The Barriers to Empathy. Chapter 4, Developing Empathy. Chapter 5, Empathy and Diversity. Chapter 6, Empathy in Leadership. Chapter 7, Empathy in Customer Service. Chapter 8, Empathy and Conflict Resolution. Chapter 9, Empathy and Innovation. Chapter 10, Empathy in Action. Empathy is a powerful tool that can transform individuals, businesses, and even the world. As the world becomes more interconnected, the ability to empathize becomes increasingly essential. In today's business world, empathy is more important than ever before, and this book is a timely and essential read for any leader who wants to succeed in this rapidly changing landscape. In Connecting with Empathy: Transforming Business Relationships, the authors provide a comprehensive guide to the power of empathy in leadership. This book offers a wealth of information and insights on the science of empathy, the benefits of empathy in the workplace, and the practical strategies for developing empathy. As a leader, I have seen firsthand the power of empathy to transform individuals and organizations. In my own career, I have learned that empathy is not only a key driver of employee engagement and productivity, but also a critical factor in building strong relationships with customers and partners. In Connecting with Empathy: Transforming Business Relationships, the challenge readers to think differently about leadership, to embrace empathy as a core value, and to create a culture of empathy within their organizations. This book is a call to action for leaders to recognize the power of empathy and to use it to drive positive change in their workplaces and in the world. Introduction. In this book, I will be exploring the importance of empathy in leadership and how it can have a transformative effect on your business. Empathy is often seen as a soft skill, something that is nice to have but not essential in business. However, I believe that empathy is not just a nice to have, but a must have for any successful leader. When you put yourself in your employees' shoes, you gain a deeper understanding of their needs and concerns. This can lead to a more engaged workforce, increased employee retention, and ultimately, better business results. Throughout the book, I will be delving into the science of empathy and the impact it can have on your business. We will look at examples of empathetic leaders who have transformed their organizations through empathy, and I will provide practical strategies for incorporating empathy into your own leadership style. Connecting with Empathy: Transforming Business Relationships is a guide for leaders who want to create a more compassionate and effective workplace. Through research, real-world examples, and practical strategies, this book demonstrates the transformative power of empathy in leadership. By incorporating empathy into your leadership style, you can create a workplace culture that fosters engagement, innovation, and success. I hope that this book will inspire you to embrace empathy as a key element of your leadership style and transform your business through compassion and understanding. Chapter 1: The Science of Empathy. In this chapter, we will be exploring the science of empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. It is an essential human trait that enables us to connect with others, build relationships, and navigate social interactions. There are different types of empathy, including cognitive empathy, emotional empathy, and compassionate empathy. Cognitive empathy involves understanding the perspective of others and their emotions without feeling them oneself. Emotional empathy involves experiencing the emotions of others as if they were one's own. Compassionate empathy involves both understanding the emotions of others and taking action to help them. The neuroscience of empathy has been extensively studied in recent years. Research has shown that empathy involves several areas of the brain, including the prefrontal cortex, insula, and anterior cingulate cortex. These areas are involved in self-awareness, emotion regulation, and perspective taking. Studies have also found that empathy has a significant impact on workplace productivity and employee well-being. Research has shown that leaders who demonstrate empathy are more effective in their roles, leading to higher job satisfaction and employee engagement. Empathetic leaders are also more likely to create a positive workplace culture and to be viewed as trustworthy and approachable by their employees. In addition, empathy has been shown to have a positive impact on employee well-being. Studies have found that employees who feel that their managers and colleagues understand and support them have higher levels of job satisfaction and are less likely to experience burnout. Empathetic workplaces are also more likely to foster a sense of belonging and inclusion, leading to higher levels of employee engagement and retention. Empathy is an essential human trait that plays a crucial role in our social interactions and relationships. The neuroscience of empathy has shown that empathy involves several areas of the brain and is crucial for self-awareness, emotion regulation, and perspective taking. Research has also demonstrated the significant impact of empathy on workplace productivity and employee well-being. In the next chapter, we will explore practical strategies for incorporating empathy into the workplace. Chapter 2. Why empathy matters in business. In this chapter, we will explore the reasons why empathy matters in the business world. Empathy is a critical component of effective leadership and has a significant impact on workplace productivity, employee engagement, and retention. The benefits of empathy in the workplace. Empathetic leaders are more likely to create a positive work environment where employees feel valued, heard, and supported. By demonstrating empathy towards their employees, leaders can foster a sense of trust and respect, leading to higher levels of employee engagement, satisfaction, and loyalty. Empathy also plays a crucial role in effective communication. Empathetic leaders are more skilled at listening actively, understanding the needs and concerns of their employees, and responding appropriately. This skill is essential for building strong relationships and fostering open communication in the workplace. Furthermore, empathy has been shown to improve problem solving and decision making. When leaders understand the perspectives of their employees, they are better equipped to make informed decisions that take into account the needs and concerns of everyone involved. This approach leads to more effective and sustainable solutions that benefit the entire organization. The drawbacks of a lack of empathy. On the other hand, a lack of empathy in the workplace can have significant negative consequences. Leaders who lack empathy may be perceived as cold, distant, and uncaring, leading to lower levels of employee engagement, satisfaction, and loyalty. This lack of connection can also lead to a breakdown in communication, with employees feeling unheard and undervalued. Moreover, a lack of empathy can lead to poor decision-making and problem-solving. Leaders who are unable to understand the perspectives of their employees are more likely to make decisions that benefit themselves or the organization at the expense of their employees' well-being. This approach can lead to resentment and disengagement among employees and may ultimately harm the organization's reputation and bottom line. Examples of empathetic and non-empathetic leaders in business. To illustrate the importance of empathy in the workplace, let's look at two examples of leaders who differ in their levels of empathy. First, consider a manager who is known for her empathy towards her employees. This manager takes the time to get to know her employees, understands their individual strengths and weaknesses, and provides personalized feedback and support. She is open and approachable, actively listening to her employees' concerns, and responding with compassion and understanding. As a result, her employees feel valued and respected, leading to higher levels of engagement, satisfaction, and loyalty. In contrast, consider a manager who lacks empathy towards her employees. This manager is distant and aloof, providing little feedback or support to her employees. She is more focused on achieving her own goals and may be insensitive to the needs and concerns of her employees. As a result, her employees may feel undervalued and unappreciated, leading to lower levels of engagement, satisfaction, and loyalty. Empathy as a key factor in employee retention and loyalty. Employee retention and loyalty are crucial factors in the success of any organization. High levels of turnover can be costly and disruptive, leading to decreased productivity and morale. Empathy plays a critical role in employee retention and loyalty. Employees who feel that their leaders and colleagues understand and support them are more likely to feel valued and invested in the organization. They are more engaged in their work, more willing to go the extra mile to achieve their goals, and more likely to remain with the organization over the long term. By demonstrating empathy towards their employees, leaders can foster a positive workplace culture that supports employee well-being and retention. Empathy is a crucial factor in the success of any business. Empathetic leaders are more effective in their roles, leading to higher levels of employee engagement, satisfaction, and loyalty. A lack of empathy can lead to negative consequences, including decreased employee morale, communication breakdowns, and poor decision-making. Empathy is not only important for employees' well-being but also for the organization's bottom line. In today's business world, where competition is fierce and markets are constantly changing, empathy has become an essential leadership skill. Leaders who demonstrate empathy towards their employees and customers are more likely to build strong relationships, create a positive work environment, and make informed decisions that benefit the organization as a whole. As a result, organizations should prioritize empathy as a core value and encourage leaders to develop and demonstrate this skill. By fostering empathy in the workplace, organizations can create a culture that supports employee well-being, engagement, and retention, leading to increased productivity and long-term success. Thank you for reading this chapter, and I hope it has provided valuable insights into the importance of empathy in the business world. In the next chapter, we will explore practical strategies for incorporating empathy into the workplace. Chapter 3: The Barriers to Empathy. Empathy is a crucial skill for effective leadership, but there are several common barriers to empathy in the workplace. In this chapter, we will explore these barriers and provide practical strategies for overcoming them. Personal biases and assumptions. One of the most significant barriers to empathy is personal biases and assumptions. As human beings, we tend to judge and make assumptions based on our experiences, beliefs, and values. These biases can lead us to overlook or dismiss the experiences and emotions of others, making it difficult to empathize with them. To overcome personal biases and assumptions, leaders must recognize and challenge their assumptions actively. This involves engaging in self-reflection, seeking out diverse perspectives and experiences, and actively working to understand and value different perspectives. One strategy for overcoming personal biases is to practice active listening. Active listening involves paying attention to the speaker, paraphrasing their words, and reflecting on what they are saying. This helps to clarify misunderstandings, build rapport, and demonstrate a genuine interest in the speaker's experiences. Cultural differences. Cultural differences can also be a barrier to empathy in the workplace. Different cultures have unique communication styles, values, and beliefs. These can impact how individuals express and perceive emotions. This can lead to misunderstandings and miscommunications, making it difficult to empathize with others. To overcome cultural barriers to empathy, leaders must be aware of and respect cultural differences. This involves understanding different communication styles, values, and beliefs and actively working to bridge cultural gaps. One strategy for overcoming cultural barriers is to provide cultural sensitivity training. This training can help employees understand and respect different cultural perspectives and communication styles. Additionally, leaders can create a safe space for open dialogue and discussion, which can help to promote understanding and empathy across cultures. Resistance to empathy in business. Finally, resistance to empathy in business can also be a significant barrier. Some leaders may view empathy as a weakness or feel uncomfortable displaying vulnerability in the workplace. This can create a culture that values productivity over employee well-being, leading to high turnover rates and low morale. To address resistance to empathy in business, leaders must recognize the benefits of empathy and work to cultivate a culture that values it. This involves setting clear expectations and standards for empathy, providing training and resources for developing empathy skills, and modeling empathetic behavior in leadership. One strategy for overcoming resistance to empathy is to lead by example. When leaders model empathetic behavior, they demonstrate its importance and create a culture that values empathy. Additionally, leaders can provide training and resources for developing empathy skills, such as active listening and perspective taking, which can help employees overcome their own resistance to empathy. Personal biases and assumptions, cultural differences, and resistance to empathy in business are all common barriers to empathetic leadership. However, by recognizing and addressing these barriers, leaders can create a workplace culture that values empathy, supports employee well-being, and leads to long-term success. In the next chapter, we will explore practical strategies for developing empathy skills and incorporating empathy into the workplace. Chapter 4: Developing Empathy. Empathy is a crucial aspect of effective leadership, but for many people, it doesn't come naturally. The good news is that empathy is a skill that can be developed and strengthened with practice. In this chapter, we will explore strategies for cultivating empathy in yourself and others, as well as tools and exercises that can help you develop your empathetic abilities. One of the first steps in developing empathy is to recognize and acknowledge the importance of empathy in your personal and professional life. Empathy is not only important for building strong relationships with others, but it can also help you to become a more effective leader. When you can put yourself in other people's shoes and understand their perspectives, you can make more informed decisions, build stronger teams, and create a more positive work environment. To begin developing empathy, it's important to start by examining your own beliefs, biases, and assumptions. Many of us have unconscious biases that can prevent us from truly understanding and connecting with others. By becoming more self-aware, you can begin to identify these biases and work to overcome them. Mindfulness is another important tool for developing empathy. Mindfulness is the practice of paying attention to the present moment, without judgment or distraction. By cultivating mindfulness, you can become more attuned to your own emotions and the emotions of others. This can help you to respond more effectively to the needs of others and to build stronger relationships with those around you. The practice of mindfulness is just one of many methods and activities that can be used to hone one's capacity for empathy. Active listening is a useful skill to hone. To practice active listening, one must listen attentively to another person without interfering or passing judgment. You can learn a lot about other people and their worldviews by listening to them attentively. Role-playing is another effective method of cultivating empathy. To do this, you must put yourself in the shoes of another person and try to picture the world as they do. When there is tension or disagreement, this can help you better comprehend the other person's perspective on the circumstance. It's also important to recognize that empathy is a skill that can be learned and developed over time. This means that it's important to practice empathy regularly, even if it doesn't come naturally at first. By consistently making an effort to understand and connect with others, you can strengthen your empathetic abilities and become a more effective leader. It's not enough to work on your own capacity for empathy, you must also work to foster it in others around you. Making this happen requires cultivating an understanding and supportive atmosphere among employees. Leading by example is one powerful method for achieving this goal. People are more likely to follow your lead if they perceive you displaying empathy and compassion. Another way to encourage empathy in others is to provide opportunities for people to connect and share their experiences. This can be as simple as scheduling regular team building activities or creating a space where people can share their thoughts and feelings in a safe and supportive environment. Empathy development involves more than just these exercises and resources, though. To cultivate empathy, one must be receptive to new information and willing to take advice from those around them. Seek out others with differing viewpoints, listen carefully, and hold civil conversations. Put your own preconceptions and biases to the test and try new things. Another crucial aspect of developing empathy is the practice of mindfulness and self-awareness. Mindfulness involves paying attention to the present moment, without judgment, and cultivating a sense of calm and clarity. By practicing mindfulness, you can develop a greater awareness of your own emotions, thoughts, and behaviors, which can in turn help you to better understand and connect with others. Self-awareness also plays a critical role in developing empathy. It involves recognizing your own emotions, strengths, and weaknesses, and understanding how these impact your interactions with others. By developing a strong sense of self-awareness, you can become more attuned to the needs and perspectives of others, and more adept at responding with empathy and understanding. Ultimately, developing empathy is an ongoing process that requires ongoing effort and dedication. But with the right mindset, tools, and strategies, anyone can learn to become a more empathetic leader and team member. By cultivating empathy, we can create more supportive, collaborative, and productive work environments, where everyone can thrive and succeed. Empathy is a skill that can be learned and developed. It is not something that comes naturally to everyone, but it is a critical aspect of effective leadership and teamwork. By actively working to develop empathy, we can create more positive and supportive work environments, build stronger relationships with our colleagues, and ultimately achieve greater success in our careers. Developing empathy requires a willingness to challenge our assumptions, step outside of our comfort zones, and engage in ongoing self-reflection and mindfulness. It requires us to listen actively, seek out diverse perspectives, and approach every interaction with an open mind and heart. By doing so, we can cultivate empathy in ourselves and others, and create workplaces where everyone can thrive and succeed. In the next chapter, we will explore practical strategies for incorporating empathy into the workplace, and discuss how leaders can leverage empathy to drive greater success and productivity. Chapter 5: Empathy and Diversity. In this crucial section, we examine the Christian perspective on the importance of empathy in creating a welcoming work environment. We set out on a trip to learn more about how empathy can serve as a powerful catalyst for accepting diversity and fostering equity within organizations. All in the name of Jesus Christ and the timeless ideals of love and compassion contained in the Bible. The belief that every person is made in God's image and has inherent value and worth drives our investigation. As Christians, we are obligated to accept this reality and show compassion to everyone, because of the value that different people and experiences contribute to the workplace. The ability to empathize helps us build a community in which everyone feels heard and accepted. The power of empathy can only be grasped by going deeper than a surface-level knowledge of another person's feelings. It's about making an emotional connection, imagining ourselves in their situation, and learning to see the world as they do. Throughout his time on earth, Jesus demonstrated extreme compassion. He was consistently empathetic and accepting of others, regardless of their origins, socioeconomic class, or worldview. As his disciples, we are obligated to mirror his compassion and treat everyone with kindness and respect, no matter how different we may be from them. More than ever before, the capacity for empathy is essential in today's fast-paced, linked society. Our civilizations now comprise a vast array of people with varying linguistic, cultural, and religious backgrounds. The richness that variety provides to our workplaces and societies demands that we welcome it with open arms and approach others with empathy. Doing so promotes an atmosphere in which each person is treated with kindness and consideration. Empathy, in its most basic form, entails taking an interest in and making an effort to comprehend the feelings and circumstances of another person. To do so requires us to put aside our own beliefs and judgments and instead embrace the perspectives of those around us. Being empathetic requires us to pay attention to those around us, acknowledge their feelings, and provide comfort and hope when asked. Empathy is essential for connecting with others and forming genuine bonds in today's technologically isolated environment. It paves the way for genuine, real connections to form beyond the superficial. The ability to empathize with others is a key ingredient in fostering a welcoming and supportive work environment. It's a great way to bring people together, build trust, and create a setting where everyone's ideas and skills are valued. Nonetheless, there are difficulties associated with empathy. It calls on us to challenge our preconceived notions and assumptions, which can be difficult. It forces us to examine how our preconceived notions and biases have colored our perspectives. It requires us to be exposed, to welcome the possibility of pain, and to accept the layered nature of the human experience. Yet, the payoff is tremendous. By understanding and being able to empathize with the feelings of others, we can foster deeper connections with others, create welcoming communities, and make the world a better place for all. The Christian duty to love one's neighbor as oneself comes to mind here. This mandate involves people from all walks of life, not just our close friends and family. It forces us to put our beliefs into practice and to show compassion for others who are different from us. Doing so not only pays homage to Jesus' teachings but also helps pave the way for a more equal and just society. The ability to empathize with another person's feelings and experiences is a powerful tool for learning and growth. When we listen to others with compassion, we foster a community in which everyone feels heard and respected. This helps to cultivate an environment where people of different backgrounds and perspectives may share and learn from one another. Empathy is not only important for building community but also for combating the injustice and unfairness that plagues our world. We gain the strength to fight for justice and create a more just and equitable society when we empathize with the plight of the oppressed and underprivileged. For underrepresented groups to make progress in the workplace, we must first identify the structural impediments holding them back, and then seek to eliminate them. It motivates us to take measures to guarantee that everyone has a fair shot at development and success. Consider the journey one global organization took to embrace diversity and cultivate empathy throughout its ranks as an example of the power of empathy in action. They realized they needed to diversify their staff in order to better reflect the communities they serve, so they adopted inclusive recruiting policies and programs. Yet they soon learned that hiring a diverse workforce was not enough. To fully tap into the potential of their varied talent pool, it was critical that their leaders and teams cultivate empathy. The company invested heavily in their staff by providing them with training, workshops, and mentorship opportunities to foster empathy as a key competency. They understood that empathy was crucial to creativity, teamwork, and business success, and not just a nice-to-have trait. Everyone felt heard, respected, and given the opportunity to contribute their unique insights because they valued and understood the experiences and viewpoints of their coworkers. They saw real results as empathy became ingrained in the culture of their company. Teams gelled better, had better conversations, and came up with more ideas. When everyone now felt like they belonged, there was a huge uptick in output and morale. Their dedication to compassion wasn't limited to internal operations. They were also heavily involved in local advocacy for social concerns and constructive social change. This case study demonstrates how Christian-inspired empathy may have a positive effect on both the culture of an organization and the lives of its members. By cultivating compassion, businesses may remove obstacles, increase communication, and make their workplaces more welcoming to all employees. Empathy is a potent tool for advancing diversity and inclusion, but its limitations must be acknowledged. Simple acts of empathy won't be sufficient to address the deeper issues with prejudice and discrimination. As a result, we need to complement our compassionate outlook with deliberate measures and structural reforms. To develop a workplace that faithfully represents Christian beliefs, we must fight for equitable policies, cultivate inclusive practices, and promote diversity at all levels of the company. Remarkable people and groups have always been on the forefront of the fight for diversity and inclusion by using empathy as their compass. We'll look at compelling examples of how empathy improved businesses by giving workers a feeling of community and giving them more agency. These examples illustrate the real-world results that may be achieved when empathy is woven into an organization's core principles and practices. Nonetheless, it's important to recognize the difficulties associated with embracing diversity. Conflicts and misunderstandings can emerge from fundamentally different worldviews, values, and life experiences. Yet, if we approach these difficulties with compassion, we may encourage honest conversation, overcome divisions, and build a community based on mutual regard and understanding. The ability to empathize with others is a key ingredient in creating an environment where everyone feels safe and valued. Christian teachings on compassion and diversity can revolutionize efforts to foster a welcoming environment at the office. Empathy, which has its roots in the teachings of Jesus Christ, enables us to recognize and respect the worth and dignity of every person. We can create inclusive, welcoming, and compassionate workplaces by valuing empathy for its ability to bridge cultural and social divides. We can foster communities where everyone can thrive, realize their full potential as God created them, and work toward a more just and compassionate world by cultivating compassion. Chapter 6: The Role of Empathy in Conflict Resolution. Conflict is an inevitable part of any workplace, whether it be a disagreement between colleagues or a larger issue between departments. In order to effectively resolve conflicts and maintain a positive work environment, empathy plays a crucial role. This chapter will explore the importance of empathy in conflict resolution and provide practical strategies for incorporating empathy into conflict resolution practices. Empathy allows individuals to understand the perspectives and experiences of others, which is essential for resolving conflicts. When individuals are able to empathize with each other, they are better able to communicate effectively and work towards a mutually beneficial solution. Without empathy, conflicts can quickly escalate and become more difficult to resolve. One of the key ways that empathy can be incorporated into conflict resolution is through active listening. Active listening involves giving the speaker your full attention and seeking to understand their perspective, rather than simply waiting for your turn to speak. This can be a powerful tool in conflict resolution, as it allows individuals to feel heard and valued, which can de-escalate tensions and promote collaboration. Another strategy for incorporating empathy into conflict resolution is through reframing. Reframing involves taking a step back from the conflict and looking at it from a different perspective. This can involve asking questions such as: what is the other person's perspective? What underlying needs or values might be driving this conflict? By reframing the conflict in this way, individuals can gain a better understanding of the other person's perspective and work towards a solution that addresses both parties' needs. Empathy can be incorporated into conflict resolution through the use of I statements. I statements involve expressing your own feelings and needs, rather than attacking the other person. For example, instead of saying you are being unreasonable, you might say I am feeling frustrated because I don't feel like my needs are being heard. This can help to prevent the other person from becoming defensive and promote a more productive conversation. In addition to these strategies, empathy can also be incorporated into conflict resolution through nonverbal cues, such as maintaining eye contact, using open body language, and nodding to indicate understanding. These nonverbal cues can help to build rapport and create a sense of trust, which can be essential for resolving conflicts. Empathy plays a crucial role in conflict resolution by allowing individuals to understand and empathize with the perspectives and experiences of others. By incorporating strategies such as active listening, reframing, and using I statements, individuals can work towards a mutually beneficial solution that addresses both parties' needs. Nonverbal cues can be used to build rapport and create a sense of trust, which is essential for resolving conflicts in a positive and productive manner. Empathy is not just a soft skill but a critical component of effective leadership and a successful business. Empathetic leaders can create a positive workplace culture that fosters collaboration, creativity, and innovation. They can also build stronger relationships with their employees, customers, and stakeholders, leading to improved business outcomes and increased loyalty. However, developing empathy is not always easy, and there are barriers to overcome, including personal biases and cultural differences. T requires a conscious effort to practice empathy and a willingness to listen and understand others' perspectives. Empathy should be integrated into broader diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. Empathy alone is not enough to address the systemic barriers and inequalities that exist in the workplace. Empathy can serve as a powerful tool, helping leaders to understand the experiences of marginalized groups and create more inclusive policies and practices. However, empathy should be paired with action, such as implementing training, measuring and tracking progress, and holding leaders accountable for creating a more inclusive workplace. It is an essential skill for leaders to cultivate and practice in the workplace. By doing so, they can create a more positive workplace culture, build stronger relationships, and drive business success. However, empathy should be integrated into broader efforts and supported by concrete action to create a more inclusive and equitable workplace for all. Chapter 7: Empathetic Leadership in Practice. Empathy is a critical component of effective leadership, but what does it look like in practice? How can leaders incorporate empathy into their daily routines and decision-making processes? In this chapter, we will explore concrete examples of empathetic leadership in practice. We will discuss specific strategies and tactics that leaders can use to cultivate empathy, build stronger relationships with their employees, and drive business success. Leading by example. One of the most powerful ways that leaders can demonstrate empathy is by leading by example. This means showing vulnerability, sharing personal stories, and actively listening to employees' concerns and feedback. For example, a leader might start a team meeting by sharing a personal experience related to a current project or issue. This can help to build trust and foster open communication among team members. It also demonstrates to employees that the leader is invested in their well-being and wants to create a positive workplace culture. Active listening. Active listening is another critical component of empathetic leadership. This means listening to employees with an open mind, asking questions, and demonstrating that their opinions and feedback are valued. One way to practice active listening is to use reflective listening techniques. This involves paraphrasing what the speaker has said and reflecting it back to them to confirm understanding. It also means paying attention to nonverbal cues such as body language and tone of voice. Leaders who practice active listening are better able to understand their employees' needs, concerns, and perspectives. This can help to build trust and create a more positive workplace culture. Putting empathy into action. Empathy is not just about listening and understanding, it is also about taking action to support employees' well-being and success. This means putting empathy into action by implementing policies and practices that prioritize employees' needs and concerns. For example, a leader might implement a flexible work schedule to accommodate employees' personal commitments or offer mental health resources to support employees' well-being. These actions demonstrate that the leader values their employees' needs and is committed to creating a positive workplace culture. Celebrating success. Finally, empathetic leaders celebrate their employees' successes and recognize their contributions to the organization's success. This can be done through public recognition, awards, or bonuses. Celebrating success helps to build a sense of community and pride among team members. It also demonstrates to employees that their hard work and dedication are valued and appreciated. Empathy is a vital skill for effective leadership, and it can transform the workplace by improving productivity, boosting employee morale, and enhancing customer satisfaction. As leaders, we must recognize the importance of empathy and actively work to cultivate it within ourselves and our teams. To achieve this, we need to start by recognizing and overcoming the barriers to empathy in the workplace, such as personal biases, cultural differences, and resistance to change. By doing so, we can create an environment that fosters empathy, inclusivity, and understanding. Developing empathy is not always easy, but it is a skill that can be learned and practiced through mindfulness, self-awareness, and active listening. By prioritizing empathy and diversity, equity, and inclusion in our organizations, we can create a more productive and satisfying workplace for everyone. As we continue to navigate the challenges of the modern workplace, let us remember the power of empathy to transform our businesses and the lives of those around us. Chapter 8: The Role of Empathy in Customer Service. Customer service is a critical aspect of any business, and the ability to empathize with customers is key to providing exceptional service. When customers feel heard and understood, they are more likely to remain loyal and recommend the business to others. In this chapter, we will explore the importance of empathy in customer service and how it can be used to build lasting relationships with customers. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. In the context of customer service, empathy involves putting oneself in the shoes of the customer and understanding their perspective. This requires active listening, open-mindedness, and a willingness to understand the customer's needs and concerns. The benefits of empathy in customer service are numerous. Empathy can help to de-escalate tense situations, diffuse anger and frustration, and create a more positive experience for the customer. It can also lead to increased customer satisfaction and loyalty, as customers are more likely to return to a business where they feel valued and understood. However, empathy in customer service is not always easy to achieve. It requires a certain level of emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and a willingness to put the customer's needs above one's own. Additionally, customer service representatives may face challenges in empathizing with customers who have different backgrounds, experiences, or perspectives. One of the most important aspects of empathy in customer service is active listening. This involves paying close attention to what the customer is saying and demonstrating that their concerns are being heard and taken seriously. Active listening can involve asking clarifying questions, repeating back what the customer has said, and demonstrating empathy through body language and tone of voice. Another important aspect of empathy in customer service is putting oneself in the customer's shoes. This means considering the customer's perspective and trying to understand their needs and concerns. It requires a level of emotional intelligence and self-awareness, as well as a willingness to set aside one's own biases and assumptions. Empathy in customer service can also involve anticipating the customer's needs and proactively addressing their concerns. This requires a deep understanding of the customer's needs and preferences, as well as the ability to anticipate potential issues and provide solutions before they become problems. Ultimately, empathy in customer service is about building relationships with customers. By demonstrating empathy and understanding, customer service representatives can create a positive experience for the customer and build lasting relationships that lead to increased customer loyalty and satisfaction. In the next section of this chapter, we will explore some practical strategies for incorporating empathy into customer service interactions. We will discuss the importance of active listening, putting oneself in the customer's shoes, and anticipating the customer's needs. We will also provide examples of businesses that have successfully implemented empathetic customer service practices and the positive impact it has had on their bottom line. Chapter 9: Empathy in Crisis Management. In times of crisis, whether it be a natural disaster or a company scandal, leaders are tested in their ability to manage and guide their teams through the turmoil. While it may be easy to default to a more authoritarian style of leadership in these situations, it is actually empathy that can make all the difference in helping a team navigate a crisis. Empathetic leaders are able to connect with their team members on a deeper level, understanding and validating their emotions and concerns. This helps to build trust and foster a sense of unity within the team, which is crucial for effective crisis management. In this chapter, we will explore the importance of empathy in crisis management, and provide practical strategies for leaders to cultivate empathy in themselves and their teams. One of the key benefits of empathy in crisis management is that it helps to create a safe space for team members to express their emotions and concerns. In times of crisis, people are often overwhelmed by a range of emotions such as fear, anxiety, and stress. Empathetic leaders are able to create an environment where team members feel comfortable sharing their emotions without fear of judgment or retribution. Another benefit of empathy in crisis management is that it helps leaders to understand the impact of the crisis on their team members. Empathetic leaders are able to put themselves in their team members' shoes, and recognize the unique challenges and stressors that they may be facing. This allows them to provide more targeted support and resources, which can make a significant difference in helping team members cope with the crisis. One example of empathy in action during a crisis is the response of Airbnb during Hurricane Sandy. In the aftermath of the hurricane, many people in the affected areas were left without homes or shelter. Airbnb responded by encouraging hosts in unaffected areas to offer free housing to those in need. The company also set up a crisis response team to provide support and assistance to hosts and guests affected by the hurricane. This empathetic response not only helped those in need, but also strengthened Airbnb's reputation as a socially responsible and empathetic company. To cultivate empathy in crisis management, leaders should prioritize active listening and communication. This means actively seeking out feedback and input from team members, and being open and transparent about the situation at hand. Leaders should also make an effort to understand and acknowledge the emotions of their team members, and provide support and resources as needed. Another strategy for cultivating empathy in crisis management is to provide opportunities for team members to connect and support each other. This could involve regular team meetings or check-ins, where team members can share their experiences and concerns. It could also involve team-building activities or exercises that focus on empathy and emotional intelligence. Empathy is a crucial factor in effective crisis management. Empathetic leaders are able to create a safe and supportive environment for their team members. Understand the impact of the crisis on their team, and provide targeted support and resources as needed. By prioritizing active listening and communication, and creating opportunities for team members to connect and support each other, leaders can cultivate empathy in themselves and their teams, and help guide their organizations through even the most challenging of crises. Chapter 10: Implementing Empathy in Your Business. Congratulations! You have made it to the final chapter of this book. By now, you have learned the importance of empathy in leadership, the benefits of empathy in the workplace, the barriers to empathy, strategies for cultivating empathy, the role of empathy in diversity and inclusion, and the practical applications of empathy in marketing and customer service. Now, it's time to bring all of these lessons together and discuss how to implement empathy in your business. While empathy may seem like a soft skill, it can actually have a significant impact on your bottom line. By fostering a culture of empathy, you can increase employee engagement, improve customer satisfaction, and ultimately drive business growth. In this chapter, we will explore practical steps for implementing empathy in your business. We will cover everything from creating an empathetic workplace culture to measuring the impact of your empathy initiatives. Creating an empathetic workplace culture. The first step in implementing empathy in your business is to create an empathetic workplace culture. This means fostering an environment where empathy is valued and practiced by everyone, from the top down. Here are some strategies for creating an empathetic workplace culture. Lead by example. As a leader, you set the tone for your workplace culture. Make sure you are modeling empathetic behavior and encouraging others to do the same. Hire for empathy. During the hiring process, look for candidates who demonstrate empathy and have a track record of treating others with kindness and respect. Provide empathy training. Consider offering empathy training to your employees, to help them develop their empathetic skills. Encourage communication. Encourage open and honest communication between employees, and create opportunities for team building and collaboration. Measuring the impact of empathy. Once you have created an empathetic workplace culture, it's important to measure the impact of your empathy initiatives. This will help you determine if your efforts are having a positive effect on your business, and make adjustments as needed. Here are some ways to measure the impact of empathy. Employee engagement. Conduct regular surveys to measure employee engagement, and look for trends in areas such as job satisfaction, employee retention, and absenteeism. Customer satisfaction. Track customer satisfaction ratings, and look for correlations between high levels of empathy in customer service interactions and increased customer loyalty. Business growth. Monitor business metrics such as revenue growth and market share, and look for correlations between empathy initiatives and improved business performance. By measuring the impact of your empathy initiatives, you can continue to refine your approach and ensure that you are getting the most out of your efforts. Implementing empathy in your business may take time and effort, but the benefits are well worth it. By fostering a culture of empathy, you can improve employee engagement, increase customer satisfaction, and ultimately drive business growth. Start by creating an empathetic workplace culture, and measure the impact of your efforts to ensure you are on the right track. With the right approach, empathy can be a powerful tool for achieving success in business and beyond. The role of empathy in leadership cannot be overstated. Empathy has been proven to be a critical component of successful leadership, and its impact on workplace productivity and employee well-being is undeniable. We've come a long way on this book's voyage into the depths of business empathy. We have investigated the empirical research on empathy, discussed its advantages and disadvantages, and looked at some of the obstacles that stand in the way of its development. We've covered the future of leadership, the importance of diversity and inclusion, and methods for cultivating empathy. As we wrap up this illuminating investigation, however, it is crucial to blend our knowledge with the eternal truths revealed by Jesus Christ. Because Jesus exemplified empathy to its fullest, he taught us how to truly love and care for one another. Jesus stressed the need for empathy, compassion, and love in his teachings. Jesus instructed them to put aside superficial differences and recognize the worth and dignity in all people by loving their neighbors as themselves. Jesus showed us that genuine leadership comes from sharing in others' trials and triumphs. We can learn a lot about effective leadership from Jesus and apply his teachings to our work as business executives. When we put forth the effort to put ourselves in the shoes of our employees, customers, and other stakeholders, we gain a deeper understanding of their wants, needs, and points of view. Empathy is the key to creating spaces where everyone feels comfortable sharing their unique perspectives and where perspectives are respected in the workplace. Imagine a company in which the management not only cares about the workers' well-being but also goes out of its way to meet their demands. A company culture built on compassion and understanding, where all employees feel they belong and can make a meaningful contribution. In this setting, empathy is more than just a trait that can be developed, it becomes an ethos that informs all actions and relationships. Empathy allows us to break down the walls that keep people apart, which in turn fosters a more welcoming and prosperous community for everyone. Let's take the lessons we've learned and the power of empathy with us as we leave this life-changing journey behind. Let us resolve to lead with compassion and change the face of our companies, our neighborhoods, and the globe. We hope that the wisdom included within will serve as a catalyst for good change, leading each of us to increase our capacity for empathy, broaden our horizons in terms of mutual understanding, and create more compassionate communities at work. May the light of this book guide us all toward more empathetic leaders and a brighter future. Let's start along this road together, united by our shared empathy, and watch as our businesses flourish, our friendships deepen, and our world becomes a better place for the next generation.